Welcome to Prosperity Recipes to get through 2020. And tonight we're so excited because this is week 7. Look at MGM. Hey, MGM, how are you? And so welcome to week 7 of Prosperity Recipes. And what we say is the basic recipe. This week we're going to be focusing on take action. We're taking action this week. And so we say this every week: abundant blessings are showering me now. I shimmer with excitement. I am prosperous. In this class, we use spaced repetition to reprogram ourselves. And to do this, we say these: abundant blessings are showering me now. I shimmer with excitement. I am prosperous. We say this 100 times a day, which takes less than 5 minutes. And that means 700 new impressions a week. That's 7,000 new impressions by the end of this course. And it will absolutely get down into your bones to help you change and know you are prosperous. That's what the financial guide that I always use, and it's called the greatest financial guide around, and it's called the Bible, and it promises that all the time, but we never accept it. And I say we've got to start accepting this. So the basic prosperity recipe that we use for this course is straight out of my book, The Women's Millionaire Club. I interviewed 21 women millionaires, and the thing that I discovered was they had a recipe, and the recipe is really quite simple, but it's not that easy to put forward. So it's know what you want, believe you can have it, take action, give thanks and praise. Know what you want. When I say that, I always put my hands on my head. Believe you can have it, I always put my hands on my heart. Take action, it means I shake my tail feather, and give thanks and praise, I put my hands up to thank God before it arrives on the physical plane. Sometimes we want to wait, but I say thank God before it even arrives. So let's review some of the things that we've already gone over. Know what you want is step 1. Know what you want is really quite easy. When that waitress comes over to you and she says, "Sugar, what do you want?" And you say something like, "Well, I don't know what I want." She'll say, "I'll come back when you are ready." Listen to me. The universe, God, however you want to call it, is always saying, tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. And when you don't know what you want or your mixed signals, the spirit always comes back and says, "I'll come back when you're ready." But when you are ready, you've decided what you want. Bam! That's how quick it starts to materialize. Your job is to know what you want. God's job is to know how and show the resources. And it's your job is to know what you want. God's job is to know how and bring the resources to you. As soon as you have clarity on what you want, the resources start showing up. It's just that way. It works every single time. So you've got to know what you want. Number 2 is believe you can have it. Beliefs are everything, and until we get our beliefs under control, till we can get our beliefs in alignment with what we want, we have a disconnect. And beliefs are formed simply by experiences from thoughts. Experience form thoughts. So the experiences that you have in your life begin to form thoughts. Those thoughts get bundled to form beliefs. So the experiences you have form your thoughts. The bundled thoughts form your beliefs. Your beliefs form your picture of reality. And then you begin to gather evidence to support your beliefs. It works that way all the time. I always said money was evil. Why is that? Because when I learned about money, the more senses you use when you're learning something, the stronger that is. And I could see it, I could smell it, I could touch it, I could taste it. Well, don't do it now. And so, and you could experience it. And so I used all 5 of my senses. The filters that I had when I learned it, the filters are your cultural beliefs, the people that surround you, mother, father, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, all the people around you. And why people in a family have different beliefs are sometimes each one of us picks somebody different. One person might believe the father father, one person the mother, one person outside influences, teachers might have had an influence on you. But when I was learning about money, it was authority figures, and it was the nuns. I learned it in Catholic school, and they always used to say, money is the root of all evil. That is not what the Bible says. The Bible says, for the love of money is the root of all evil, but I learned it that way, so that's the most misquoted reference in the Bible. And yet, so I thought money was evil. Then the automatic decider says, well, are you going to keep that information that money is evil, delete it, distort it, or generalize it? For me, it was taught to me by the nuns. So, of course, I was going to keep it. And so I kept it and it was an emotional state when I learned it, was they were very intense about an emotional experience cements it into you. And so for years and years and years, I believed it. And my behaviors and actions were, I gathered lots of evidence to support those beliefs. Every news story I watched I only focused on the rich, greedy people. So that's how these beliefs get stuck. That belief was not mine. It didn't come from me. It came from an outside source. Almost every single one of your beliefs come from an outside source. They do not come from you. And so beliefs are learned, and it's a mixture of positive, negative, and neutral. You don't get all positive. You don't get all negative. You get a mixture. And so patterns develop unconsciously. So the pattern that developed for me was, money is evil. So Lord have mercy, every time it came to me, what did I do? I turned it loose, and it didn't come to me. I pushed it away because it's evil. I didn't want to be evil. And so thoughts, words, and actions demonstrate your beliefs. Can you see how having that belief about money was going to be very harmful to me when I wanted to attract money into my life? It wasn't going to happen. So beliefs are what you hold as certain truths, whether they are or not. Money is not evil. Money is just energy. And what the belief that you put on it is what it's going to use. So you either attract it to you or you push it away. So, but I held that as a certain truth. And I know that prosperous thinking is a single strength. Prosperous speaking, it makes it a double strength. But you want the triple threat of thinking, speaking, and actions that are prosperous. So you give your energy to all three so that you know you and you alone decide your prosperity. And when I say prosperity, I don't just mean money. Prosperity to me is vibrant health. Prosperity to me is harmonious relationships. Prosperity to me is knowing to give your gifts and talents to the world and get paid accordingly for those and what you believe you should have, which is everything. And then having the dream lifestyle that you want. That is prosperity to me. Can you attract it? Abundance is all the things that are surrounding you. We have an abundance of food, abundance of clothes. It's always abundant. But prosperity is, do you have the ability to attract it to you? Everybody does. Some people don't use that. So you get to decide your prosperity. Nobody else. Nobody tells you. It's not about the market. It's not about, well, COVID means that I can't make money. My job was to be, this year, was to have one of the most prosperous years of my life financially. And overnight, bam, just like that, everything was taken away. As a public speaker in schools, every school was shut down. And so, needless to say, every drop of my business went away. But it's up to me to decide how prosperous I am and how to figure out how to bring that prosperity, how to attract it back to me when these things happening. So I love this. That's why the financial guide that I use is the Bible. Listen to this. I command my blessings upon you. Leviticus, it says this in the Bible day and night. It's saying all these things, and yet we choose to watch the news and believe that, and we don't believe the great financial guide of the Bible. Come on, listen to the Bible. And it says, this is from John Price from the Abundance book. Money is not my supply. Let me repeat that. Money is not my supply. No person, place, or condition is my supply. My awareness, understanding, and knowledge of all providing activity of divine mind that's within me is my supply. My consciousness of this truth is unlimited. Therefore, my supply is unlimited. I command my blessings upon you. Trust that, believe that. That is our true state, prosperity. Ernest Holmes says prosperity is outsourcing of substance in all our affairs. That's money, health, everything. Everything in the universe is for us. Nothing's against us. Life is ever giving of itself. We must receive it, utilize it, and extend the gift. Success and prosperity are spiritual attributes belonging to all people, but not necessarily used by all people. I love that, because prosperity, how you attract things into your life, is the outpicturing of substance in your affairs. So, and Mary Moylan used to say to us all the time, if you pray, don't worry. But if you worry, why pray? So I want you to know that if you pray, then you don't need to worry. We can figure this out. And I love Albert Einstein because everything is energy, and that is all there is to it. Match, and hear me clearly because I repeat this over and over again, match the frequency of the reality you want. Listen to me again. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This isn't philosophy. This is physics. Match the frequency of the reality you want, not what you're seeing on the TV, not what you're witnessing in your life. Match the frequency of the reality you want. Nancy said that she wants vibrant health. Let's match that reality. What would vibrant health look like? What would it feel like? That's what we're up here trying to do. Vibrating at a higher frequency, your thoughts, words, and action, because all things are possible with God. So we must match the frequency of the reality we want, because money is energy, and money vibrates the meaning you set to it. So if you want a negative meaning, you push your money away. When I thought money was evil, I guarantee it never came to me. And if it did, it fell apart real quickly. And so when I changed my belief and made a choice, a conscientious choice, that I wanted something different in my life, all of a sudden, money came to me left and right overnight when I absolutely made a conscientious decision to match the frequency of the reality I wanted. And I say, every little cell in my body is happy. Every day I get up singing, every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Feels so good, feels so swell. Every little cell is happy and well. Because your body is always listening, just like the universe. And so everything that drops out of your mouth is being put into action. The universe goes, oh, finally, she knows what she wants. She wants her body to be happy and well. I can give you that. And so every little cell is happy and well. And be aware, because all of us drink in everything daily. The news, people that talk to us, gossip, all these things, we're drinking it in daily. And a lot of it is negativity. And so, are you spitting out words, thoughts, and actions that make you feel good or not so good? And a lot of times when you drink in negativity, even small amounts of negativity, it makes you feel not good. We don't feel so well. It affects our cells. Are you listening to me? It affects your cells down to your fiber every moment. So we've got to watch what we're drinking in daily. And I love this. Prove me now herewith. Being tithing is the secret sauce of our prosperity class. You can know what you want, believe you can have it, take action, give thanks and praise. You will get what you want. But if you want it to come to you faster, then tithe. And it says in the Bible, prove me now your wealth, says Malachi. I will open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that there shall not be room enough to receive it. I love that. Pour you out a blessing that there's not enough room to receive it. And it was so true. When we tithe, it comes to us faster, easier. So that is just, when you tithe, you thrive. And so we say to you every week that when we come together we manifest quicker. Simply by coming to our prosperity classes, we know that we manifest so much quicker when we have other people that are focused on us and focused on our wants and needs. Every time when you send me what you want and I put it into the newsletter and I send it back out, people are thinking about that for you, and it's being able to be manifested for you faster. In this class, we have to release with Ho'oponopono, and we attract with the law of attraction. And Ho'oponopono is all about be aware of the beliefs. Remember, your bundled thoughts are your beliefs. So you've got to become aware of them. The ones that are working for you, keep them. They're wonderful. The ones that aren't working for you, let them go. Release them. When you release something, you create a vacuum. When you release junk from your house, you create a vacuum. When you release thoughts and bundled thoughts that are beliefs that no longer work for you, you create a vacuum. And the universe loves to fill a vacuum. So if you do not fill it with what you want, the universe will fill it with what you've already had in there before. So you must fill your own vacuum. And that's how we're going to use Ho'oponopono. And the law of attraction is know what you want in this class. Know what you want, believe you can have it, take action to receive it, and give thanks and praise before it arrives on the physical plane.
Yes, it's happy
So
before.
that's what you're going to do. I can see that. I think you might want to mute, Consuelo. It's coming through. And so here's our dear Michelle Bondra, and she said that she is releasing piles and piles and piles of stuff. And as she releases, that's great. She creates the vacuum. But Michelle, here's what I want you attracting those piles to you. Piles of gold. Why not? If we can release piles, why don't we attract piles? So if we're going to attract the piles, let's attract the piles that we want. So that's what we're going to say. So fill your vacuum with what you want. Ho'oponopono simply is anything that happens to you or that you perceive happens to you is your own creation. The whole world where you live is entirely your responsibility, 100% with no exceptions. It's not your fault. Let me repeat this. Your world is entirely your responsibility, not your fault, your responsibility to heal yourself in order to heal whatever or whoever is that appears to be the problem. Dr. Len, he went to Hawaii. He worked in a criminally insane hospital where all the patients were mentally and criminally insane. The paint wouldn't even stick to the walls because it was such a low vibration, such a miserable low vibration. The staff called in sick all the time. He comes, he doesn't ever see any of the patients. All he does is sit in his office, and each patient, he reads their file, and he says, there's a part of them that needs healing. Oh my gosh, there's a part of me that needs that same healing because we're all one. And he sat in his office and he used, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and I thank you. He was saying that to himself. And once he healed himself, then he went on to the next file. Within a short period of time, the paint was sticking to the walls, staff was coming, patients were getting better, and within a very short period of time, they ended up closing the hospital because the patients were all released. If he could do that with patients, we can do that by taking responsibility to heal the part of us that might be suffering, whether we know it or not, that is appearing with the people that are in our life that might be, we perceive are causing the problems in our life. You hold the power, even in very difficult situations, by using love to release all of that negativity from your life. So that's how we use it. How to release? Ho'o. So we say ho'o. That's what it starts with, to make it. Pono means right. Ho'o, pono. Double pono means make it right, being right with ourselves and others. Ho'o, pono, pono. You can say ho'o, pono, ho'oponopono. And so it is to release. We want to release and remove resentment, blame, judgment, anger, so that we can attract what we want. If you are holding on to resentment, blame, judgment, anger, all these kinds of things, your thoughts, your being is filled up. If you have no room left, you can't attract. That's why we must release to create the vacuum. So now we have the space to fill it with what we want. When you create the space by creating that vacuum, releasing, then you can fill it up with what you want. Not what you've had in the past that didn't work, what you want. So, ho'o, pono, ho'o, pono, ho'o, pono. And it goes, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and I thank you. And so the messages I send out each week give you that. There's a song on YouTube and it goes like that, and you might want to use it. And so tonight, last week, it was so powerful to use the Ho'oponopono script instead of our Abundance Banquet Hall. We'll do the Abundance Banquet Hall next week, but we're going to do the Ho'oponopono again this week to show you how I use it in my daily personal life to release what I do know about and to release what I don't know about. So what I'm going to do is release with Ho'oponopono on a guided meditation. So if you will now, please just get very comfortable in your seat. Take anything that's in your hands and release it. Put your feet flat on the floor, and you can sit in your chair nice and comfortable. And I want you to, maybe if it feels comfortable to you, close your eyes. And when we do, let's just say we're going to use Ho'oponopono, and it is to make it right, to double right, being right with ourselves and others. And so what we're going to do, I'll guide you through this meditation with the intention to remove blame, past pain, judgment, anger, so that you can now free yourself and all others involved from any negative energy or projections that prevent you from moving forward in your life. Before we begin, set your intention to let go of anything around you. Let's focus not on what happened today, what's been happening in your life. Let's just focus on the core of your being that is underneath many layers of protection. Know that the core of your being is surrounded by walls, body shields, and armor. Now, if you haven't already done so, gently close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths in and exhale. Release any thoughts of the day. You are here in the moment, your mind, body, and spirit. Take a deep breath in and trust that in moving forward, you are perfectly aligned with your highest good, your deepest well-being, and the energy of total relaxation. Sink deeper, deeper into this healing space of trust and surrender, connecting to the most authentic core, ascension to who you are, all on your highest soul level. Tune into the energy and the power of the Ho'oponopono. The first line of the Ho'oponopono prayer is, I'm sorry. Place your hands on your heart to open your heart. Feel a level of compassion for yourself deep within your body, warming you from the inside out. The second line of the prayer is, please forgive me. Take a few moments to notice the response of your body. Allow the energy of forgiveness to move through you and all around you. The next part of the prayer is, I love you. Ask your body to open up and imagine the energy of unconditional love moving into your energy field, and allow it to gently heal your physical body. The last line of the prayer is thank you. Thank you. Imagine a soft wave of gratitude flowing through you and all around you, cleansing and cleaning you of any shame, guilt, blame, or any of your past actions, words, or choices. Now join me in connecting to the earth and grounding yourself. Use the power of your imagination to visualize a column of light moving from the base of your spine into the ground. Take a deep breath in. Imagine this column of light going deeper and deeper and deeper, all the way until it reaches the loving heart of divine Mother Earth. Take a deep, slow breath. Feel the guidance of the divine Mother Earth. Know that she is holding space for you and is ready to heal and transform any energies that you are ready to release. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you. Now focus your attention on the top of your head. Imagine connecting to the energy of Father Son. Imagine tapping into the infinite source of unconditional love with deep compassion. Imagine your energy flowing into the top of your head, flowing down in through your body. Visualize every cell of your body filling up with this energy of love, compassion, and forgiveness. Be the guardian of this energy. Align with your highest good. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I'm thankful. Now feel how you are upgrading your energy, raising your vibration, your frequency, and activating your light body. Imagine how energy coming from the sun is moving in like healing waves, cleansing and clearing you of the deepest level. Take a deep, slow breath. Feel the total support of Mother Earth, encouraging you to let go of anything that no longer is in alignment with your highest good and feelings of well-being. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you. Imagine how the healing waves is helping you to release any blockages into the earth for cleansing, clearing, healing, and transformation. Every breath you take is bringing in a healing wave, settling your intention into flushing out what is ready to be released so that you can bring in more light and more life force into every cell of your body. Feel this wave of forgiveness washing over you, realizing that you did all the best you could under any given circumstances with the resources you had available to you at that moment in time. Open your heart. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I thank you. Breathe in and start scanning your body. Is there any energy of judgment? Open your heart and scan to see if there's any desire to hold on, the need to control or manipulate your circumstances. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I thank you. Tune into the law of attraction. Did you know that the law of attraction will bring you more of whatever you place your focus on, even if you don't want it? Please take a few moments to tune into the idea that judgment is a powerful magnet that keeps attracting more of the same energy into your life over and over and over. Imagine that you can shift that unconscious law of attraction simply by dropping the energy of judgment. Open your heart. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you. Place your awareness on yourself. Scan your body. Imagine how much lighter would you feel if you could let go of any need to judge any of your actions, words, or your choices that you've made. Open your heart. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you. Feel a wave of forgiveness washing over you as once again you realize and acknowledge that you always did the best you could under any given circumstances with the resources that you had available to you at that moment in time. Open your heart. Softly say to yourself, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you for all the times I judged my physical appearance and told myself I was anything less than beautiful. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you for all the times I neglected to take good care of myself on a physical, emotional, spiritual, or financial level. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you for all the times I believed others who said I was ugly or fat, undesirable, or simply not good enough. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you for all the times I accepted someone else's standard of beauty, even to my detriment, and to my confidence and to my self-love. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I thank you for any unresolved shame, guilt, or blame that I have directed towards myself and towards others. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you for the many times I did not honor healthy boundaries and allowed others to control, manipulate, or even abuse me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you for all the times I gave away my power, my energy, my money in relationships that did not honor me. Open your heart. I'm sorry. I love you. For every time I felt unworthy to receive unconditional love. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you for every time I held myself back from giving love because I felt the fear of rejection and the fear of commitment that I was afraid of. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I thank you for any goals I set for myself and then failed to meet my own expectations. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I thank you for every time I ignored my own intuition or the good advice of others that caused me pain or discomfort. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I thank you for every time I ignored those red flags and allowed bad advice that led to failure, pain, and frustration. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you for any time I missed an opportunity because I doubted myself. I felt afraid to step out of my comfort zone. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you for any times I fell into addictive behavior to distract or numb myself. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you for all the times I procrastinated, had negative thoughts, took unloving actions that slowed me down or held me back from reaching my highest intentions. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you for all the times other people's negative thoughts, actions, and behaviors slowed me down or held me back from reaching my highest potential. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you for all the times when I held on to a toxic person or a toxic situation far too long. Oh, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you for any creative projects, business opportunities, financial possibilities, or potential relationships that failed for any reason, whisper to yourself, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you, and I thank you for all the times I gave away my power, gave away it unconsciously or consciously. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you, and I thank you for all the times when I felt all alone and unsupported. Take a deep breath. Open my heart to forgiveness as I set my intention to clear and cleanse any negative energy on all levels of my being, as I send it into the deep, into Mother Earth for cleansing, healing, and transformation. I imagine how the energy from the sun is coming in like a healing wave, cleansing and clearing my soul memory. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you. I imagine all my unresolved emotions have surfaced and are ready to be seen and ready to be released. Breathe in. On the exhale, I send all unresolved emotions deep, deep into the earth for cleansing, healing, and transformation. I open my heart to really receive this message. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you. I focus all my attention on the column of light moving down from the base of my spine, the loving heart of Mother Earth. I see Mother Earth cleansing and clearing and transforming and healing my soul energy. I see her sending transformed energy and healed energy back to me through my feet, into my body, restored, renewed, and refreshed, vibrating at a frequency to match my highest good. I notice now this vibrant healing, high frequency energy move up into and throughout my body, connecting and mixing with the white light energy from the sun. I see that I am now a living conduit between Mother Earth and the energy of the sun. I imagine how the column of light is expanding beyond my physical body to my work field. I see this healing energy radiating out from me in wonderful, powerful rays of light surrounding me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you. I imagine this prayer is assisting in cleansing and clearing and healing and upgrading my light frequencies to the highest level that is in alignment with my deepest well-being. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I thank you. I recognize that we are all part of one consciousness, and as such, everything in our reality, everything and everybody that is present in our experience is thereby affected by our actions and reactions. I set my intention to vibrate at my highest frequency. I set my intention to take 100% responsibility for my life. I am the captain of my soul and the master of my creation. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I thank you. Take a deep breath. Know that you are cleansed and cleared and healed and transformed. Gently wiggle your toes and your fingers. Take a nice big yawn and a nice big stretch. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes and return to your room. Feel that energy. Feel that energy. And so we release all blockages into the earth to be cleansed, cleared, and healed and transformed. Energy from the sun is upgrading your light frequencies, and it brings in more light to raise your vibration. Now you will be able to use that law of attraction to attract to you all your dreams and your dream lifestyles. Your thoughts determine your experience. That is the law of attraction. And so you want to bring into you, as a human being, is a being that exists. But Emily Cady says God is spirit, or the creative energy that is the cause of all visible things. God is pure being, as principle. You are not acted upon by God. You are the activity of God expressing as you. And that's why releasing what has been on our blockages, now we can see that you are not acted upon by God, but you are the activity of God expressing as you. And so the mind, that's your pictures, your thoughts, your ideas. And it is connecting link between you as a human and the rich unformed substance of God, universe, or whatever you choose to call it. Charles Fillmore said, God is personal to us when we recognize him within us as our indwelling life, intelligence, love, and power. Whenever an idea pops into your head, Michelle always has ideas that are popping into her head. These are God things. This is God within you saying, yes, that's me. And so to mold the rich, unformed substance that's available to you at all times, have the audacity to be definite about your prosperity. Know what you want. Know what you want to accomplish. Know what you want to have. Know what you want to experience. That's what the universe, God, is asking you to do. Tell me, just tell me. I can't give you what you want until you are ready. And when you are ready, I'll give it to you. And prosperity will manifest for you when you are ready and define prosperity. Then, once you've defined it, you got to believe you can have it. You got to believe that you can have a vibrant body and a vibrant, healthy body. It says it in the Great Financial Guide. The Bible tells it to us all the time. And so I don't care what the news is telling you. Look at what the Bible tells you, that you have harmonious relationships, that you can have pleasurable purpose. That means you can have the ways to give your gifts and talents to the world that makes you happy and brings you a living, makes you happy and brings you the living you want to live, the dream lifestyle you want to live, the bank account you want to have, the investments you want to have, the car you want to drive, the house you want to have. It's all yours. The thing, Frank Lloyd Wright said, the thing always happens that you really believe in. And the belief in the thing makes it happen. That made so much sense to me. And so we didn't go over this the last time, but I want to tell you about Nick, the train yard guy. And some of you might know this story, some of you might not. And so let's do it now. And this is the story of Nick, the yard guy. And Nick Spitzman, he was one of those kind of guys. He loved his work in the train yard guy in Chicago, and was considered one of the most reliable workers in this company. He had a vibrant, healthy body. He had harmonious relationships with his wife and his 2 kids and his family and his fellow crew members. And Nick made good money. But from the inside, Nick's belief system was activated by worry. He was what many of us call a worrywart. Yes, he was. Nick was a chronic worrywart. Nick worried about just about everything and was always fearing the worst. He talked about what might happen and the what ifs. Well, if I do this, what if this happens? And what if that happens? And what if this happens? So one summer day, his crew was in the train yard, and when all of a sudden the foreman told everybody they could leave an hour early so they could attend the birthday party of one of their guys. Nick happened to be out in the train yard and he didn't hear this announcement. Matter of fact, he was working on a refrigerator boxcar when they made the announcement. Well, all the other workmen left the yard except for Nick, who didn't hear the announcement. And accidentally, Nick got locked inside the refrigerator car he was working on. Well, panic immediately set in because Nick was a what? Chronic worrier. So panic sets in and he realizes he's trapped in this refrigerator car. And unlike today's workmen, Nick didn't have a cell phone back in the day. And Nick started screaming at the top of his lungs. He started beating on the door with his fist until they became bloody. And finally, his voice gave out. He screamed, he yelled, he did everything he could to get somebody to hear him. But of course, all the other guys had already left for the party. Nick was very, very aware that this was a refrigerator car, and he guessed that the temperature was well below freezing. His beliefs invited in and activated his fear. His thoughts ran rampant. He believed if he could not get out of that refrigerator boxcar, he would freeze to death. He believed, I can't make it through the night. The more he bundled his thoughts about being cold, the colder he got. And he began to shiver uncontrollably. And finally, he found a knife and etched the words on the floor of the boxcar so his wife and family would know exactly what had happened to him. He writes on the floor, so cold, body getting numb. These may be my last words. As he shivered and shivered. He shivered uncontrollably. Well, the next day, the crew came back in. And when they opened the big steel doors of the refrigerator boxcar, they found Nick's body curled up in the corner. The autopsy revealed, indeed, Nick had every physical sign that he had succumbed to hypothermia, meaning Nick had frozen to death. But here's what's actually amazing about this story. The refrigerator unit of the boxcar where Nick died was inoperative, meaning it was out of order. It wasn't working. It didn't work. That's right, the refrigerator boxcar unit did not even work. The actual temperature in the car where Nick froze to death was only 55 degrees. And so we have to ask ourselves and tell ourselves, fear makes things much worse than they are. Fear makes things much worse than they are. We have got to understand, why did Nick freeze to death? His beliefs and expectations killed Nick. Whether you're calling them beliefs or expectations, they're one and the same. Beliefs and expectation. He believed that boxcar, he was going to freeze to death. He believed that it was freezing cold in that boxcar. He believed, because he was a worrywart from day one. He didn't look for solutions. He only worried. He invited in fear and activated his own disastrous results. You see, when we invite fear in, right now we're in the middle of a coronavirus. We can invite that fear in and then activate our own disastrous results. Or we can make a decision, what we talk about in this class all the time, a prosperous decision that you decide. And how you're going to decide is, don't invite fear in, and then it won't be activated. Are you freezing to death when it's only 55 out? You have to make that decision. Are your beliefs killing you or freeing you? What is it going to be for you? Are you going to create beliefs that are going to free you so that you can create anything you want in your life? Are you going to use beliefs that are going to kill you? That's up to you. Are your beliefs killing your vibrant health? Are your beliefs killing or freeing you to create vibrant health? I have friends that have been sick for years. I was one of them that got very, very sick early on in my life, and it had nothing to do with anything else. I went to the doctor today, and I am so grateful, on my knees grateful. I don't take a drop of medication. I don't take a drop of anything. My cholesterol was good. Everything was good. And so vibrant health. Even my doctor said my heart rate was like one of a 22-year-old. And so isn't that interesting? Because in my family, there was cancer. My grandmother died of it. My aunt died of it. I mean, it's replete throughout my family. My mother died of cancer. My father died of cancer. And so there's diabetes. There's everything. My brother and sister both take buckets full of pills. I take nothing. because I have changed my belief. Were these illnesses inherited? Are they genetic? I don't think so. My belief is it was how we learned to deal with things. My aunt, my mother, my father, my grandmother were all huge worriers. They learned to worry, and they worried about everything. We used to tease my mother and tell her all the time, Ma, I'll worry on Monday, Wayne's going to worry on Tuesday, Susan will worry on Wednesday, and Dad will worry on Thursday. You just have to worry on Friday, because she worried about everything. And so I chose, when I figured this out, I decided that I wasn't going to do that to myself. And I made a decision. If I could look at something that was bothering me, if a problem was in my life, I would either A, look at it, and using Ho'oponopono now, I just send it down to be healed, but, or I look at it and I find the solution. But I don't waste a lot of time on worrying. I just don't. And so your harmonious relationships, are your beliefs killing your harmonious relationships? Or are they freeing you to create marvelous relationships? Are your beliefs killing you so that you cannot create the way you want to give your gifts and talents to the world? Are you free to do that? And your dream lifestyle, are you living your dream lifestyle? Are you living in the dream house that you want to be in, the car you want to drive, the bank accounts you want to drive? Your beliefs are killing you. This is why I spend so much time in this class about beliefs, because you have got to understand, are your beliefs hurting you? Are they helping you? And so whether this story is true or not, I believe it is true. I don't know if it is. It was told to me years ago, but if it isn't, but I believe that this is exactly what can and will happen. Take action. This week, we're all about taking action. I've asked you repeatedly to look at your beliefs. So how do you look at your beliefs? When you know, a lot of times they're so rapid that you don't even know them. Start listening to the words to discover your beliefs. Start listening to what you say to yourself. If you say things like, I believe, I think, I suppose, I reckon, I presume, I accept, or I expect, those are things that are going to tell you the belief comes out next. I take it for granted. It's gospel. It is, it isn't. My views are. These are all things that are helping you to discover what your beliefs are, what you think about something, and so especially about your health, your relationships, your work arena, and what your dream lifestyles are. Beliefs are learned. You didn't start them. You didn't get them yourself. You didn't just pop out of mama and daddy and have a set of beliefs. They were learned from father, brother, sister, mother, aunt, uncle, preacher, teacher, your best friends. You learn them from other people. Last week we talked about I was a smoker early on in my life. I didn't want my Mary to see me smoking, so she never saw me smoking until one day she needed some paper signed for school, and she ran out and saw me after she'd gone to bed. She ran out and saw me smoking on the patio, and she stood there and screamed, "You're going to die. My teacher says you're going to die if you smoke." I had tried to stop smoking for years and couldn't do it. I stopped on the dime immediately after that, because your beliefs are learned, and I thought smoking would make me popular, and so I started. Then it became a habit, then it was hard to stop, and I had to decide. When I decided, I stopped, because the picture of my reality changed. Every belief that you have, some of the beliefs you had were positive, some of them were negative, most of them were neutral. But the ones that are negative or positive are the ones, positive ones promote you in life, negative ones hold you back in life. Beliefs are what you hold as certain truths, whether they are or not. My belief about money is all evil. That was not true, but I believed it as if it were. Smoking would make me popular. I believed it as true, and that was not true. And so it just was ugly, nasty thing that I hated. And so you have to make a decision. You learn your beliefs through your five senses. The more senses you use to when you're learning a belief, the stronger that belief is. The more filters you use, whether it was an authority figure, your mom, somebody that you love and like, or was a friend, all of these filters that you see things through. That's why we can have two people looking at the same thing and see something totally different. Then you become an automatic decider. You keep, delete, distort, or generalize that belief. The emotional state you learned it in helps too. And then you have a behavior. Beliefs, behaviors create your results. And so here's what most of us do. Our beliefs are either type 1, we're fearful. It is not safe to be in the jungle. So we fear or worry or what ifs about everything. Type 2 is que sera, sera. Well, that's life. And so things just happen and I don't have any control over everything or anything in my life. And then the 3 type is the type that says, well, according to research, I can only believe it if you show me, I want to see the research. I want to see the research. And then there are the excited. Things always work out for me. So you're one of these types or maybe a combination of them. And so I choose, there's a difference between fear and excitement, and I'm going to choose excitement every time because beliefs are learned and they're a mixture of positive, negative, and neutral, and beliefs are what you hold as certain truths. So I have got to let go of things that do not work for me any longer and hold on to the ones that are working. And so the perfect storm that we are now in is the coronavirus. It sailed right into our life. And so that's where we are right now. Coronavirus sailed right into our life and without warning. So that was number 1. Then that, because people were home watching TV and hearing all of this, then the social injustice became very strong. We began to see it, and blacks and whites and yellows and greens, and all of us started coming together because all of a sudden we could see social injustice was here. And then this whole business of connectivity. Then we had this technology that began to just show up in our lives. And so it was interesting because the technology that showed up in our life gave us great connectivity. Everything is changing because power is shifting from institutions, governments, and big companies into the hands of the connected individual. And so with that, it's a whole new world that's going to be created because of all of this stuff. And we're going to be prosperity strong and keep things going because nothing will ever be the same as it was. Their new normal, what's next? And that's going to be what's in us. And so we're always thinking about fear and excitement. Do you know between fear and excitement, it's interesting because they're actually the exact same thing. Fear and excitement, the same mechanisms that created fear also create excitement. What is the difference between the two? The only difference between the two is your attitude. The only difference between fear and excitement is your attitude. It's just that simple. Let me give you an example. If you go on a roller coaster, there are some people when they go on a roller coaster, they're all excited. They're excited. They're thrilled. Then there are other people that go on a roller coaster that are terrified. The attitude is they all get on the ride. And so it's just the difference between an attitude, whether it is excitement or it is fear. And fear or excitement, you get to choose. It's an attitude. The difference between the two of them is a choice. I choose excitement. I choose to see this time that is happening now as an explosion. Everything is being blown apart. And it means that those that have the ability to put things back together and solve the problems are going to be extremely valuable in coming up because everything is changing. Every institution is changing. I hate when they say defund the police. I wish they would just call it reimagine. Reimagine. The policing should not be done the way it's done. We should reimagine how we're going to do this. Reimagine the court systems. Reimagine everything. Even toilets are being reimagined. We've had the same toilet since the turn of the century. And when you flush, there's this plume that comes up and spreads germs. And now for the first time ever, they're now trying to fix that because they know it's a germ spreader. So everything is being looked at. You can be fearful about the future. You can be fearful about what's going on right now, or you can be excited because this is the time for the creative people right now. You have a solution to anything, now is the time. Fear or excitement, it is truly going to be up to you. truly going to be up to you. Fear blows things out of proportion. And so instead, fear makes problems bigger than they really are. So whatever you fear most, you invite in and you activate. Let me give that to you again. Whatever you fear most, you invite in and activate. I don't know about you, but I don't like to do that. So if you say, I have no money, I have no money, I have no money, the universe is listening. It sends you no money. It activates that. I'm going to get sick. I'm going to get sick. I'm going to get sick. That is invited in and it gets activated. I beg you to stop it. And yikes, you get it to support your belief. When you say, I'm going to get sick, that is, the universe says, hey, they want their belief supported. I'm going to give them evidence and that will make it right. So you invite in and activate that fear. So let's make a decision. And this is a couple that had been married for 30 years. For 30 years, it was funny. She would wake up, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? And she'd say, honey, go down and see, there's somebody here. And he didn't want to disturb, he didn't want to upset his wife. So he says, I'll go down and check it out, honey. 30 years go by. Every night he goes down to check it out. Every night there's nothing there. And she goes back to sleep. And so finally, this one night he goes down and there was a burglar there. And he looks at the burglar looks at him and he says, wait. The burglar goes to flee and the husband goes, wait, you can't go yet. My wife's been expecting you for 30 years. So fear invites in and activates. And so you've got to understand, what do you place, where do you place your attention and your focus? If you place it on fear, you invite it in and you activate it. Or you place it on the universe, here's your intention. Or you place it on and you get excited about what's out there, and that's what you're going to bring in. We want to take action, because when we take action to eradicate the fears of our life and turn that into excitement instead of fear, it's either fear of a roller coaster or excitement of a roller coaster. And I will go on a roller coaster and be excited about it. So take action. Even if you are on the right track, you'll get run over if you just sit there. That's Will Rogers. I love him. And so take action. It's up to us. And so it's story time. And so after my divorce, like I told you before, my divorce, my beliefs were below the line. So back in the day, after my divorce, remember we have circumstances. We've talked about this, and that there's a line, and our line is the circumstance that we have in front of us. And so after I divorced, I was below the line, meaning that I played the victim all the time. And so below the line, bundled thoughts that I repeated often, and these beliefs were fear-based and constrictive, filled with non-productive behaviors, fueled by anger and blame because I was really mad at him, and protected me from further hurt, because that's what we do. And so I would say things all the time. I was below the line. I was fear-based, fueled by anger and resentment to protect myself from further hurt. And here's what I said all the time. I'm stuck in this ugly apartment that I hate because my husband divorced me, leaving me penniless. Why did I do that? Why did I tell that to everybody? Because, of course, I wanted support. I wanted to gather evidence that he was a bum and I was a wonderful person. And I was penniless because of that. So the more I said it, the more I invited fear in, and the more no money I got. And I took no positive action except to complain and suffer as a victim martyr. Poor me, poor me, poor me. And I thought I was just a martyr. Truthfully, I became really quite good at it. And so that's why I surrounded myself by all these miserable people, because misery loves company. So I found a lot of friends that were willing to support me. Then I started to learn, like Wes said, these new ideas that from the Ultimate Financial Guide, the Bible, and my new prosperity mentors, Jesus, Catherine Ponder, Napoleon Hill, Charles Fillmore, Ernest Holmes, and so many more. And I discovered the only way to get out of my disastrous life, which I created, Ho'oponopono, thank you for that, was to put the information I was learning into action immediately. And since I hated that apartment, one of my very first actions in the inflated 80s was to find a way out of the apartment, knowing that I didn't knowing what I didn't want really leads you to what you do want. Because if I didn't want to live in an apartment, guess what I wanted? I must want a house. So I started thinking about manifesting a house. Now that I knew what I wanted, the universe provided the how and the resources. Every prosperity book stated in one way or another to manifest the life you desire, improve your thoughts and your beliefs. And so I was in that endless negative loops of victimhood, tragic story. And that's why I tell you, don't tell your tragic story one more time. Just don't do it, because the more you tell it, the more you get. And so you got to stop. You got to learn. And now that knew what I wanted, the universe provided the how and the resources. And so immediately I became aware. I began to take inventory of my beliefs. And I began to, the main belief that when I was stuck was I'm stuck in this ugly apartment that I hate because my ex-husband divorced me, left me, leaving me penniless. Of course, I made myself the victim every time. And if I wanted to move forward with my dream of owning a house, I'd have to release this belief, which would create the vacuum, which would give me the space so that I could fill it with my new house. As long as I held on to all these toxic beliefs, I could not create any space, and so I was filled up. So I was never going to get what I wanted. So you have to release and make space to fill it up again. And I'd read the best way to release a toxic belief was to forgive. I have to forgive myself and my ex-husband. Oh my gosh, that was a hard one for me. Forgive, every time I'd even say the word forgive, I got angry. And how are you going to forgive if you get angry every time? So how could I possibly forgive this man who had ruined my life? Because I absolutely blamed him for everything. And the answer appeared in the book. To forgive just means to release and let go. If you can release and let go, it's so much easier. Your life becomes so much easier. So instantly I used this new information to forgive and forgive myself and my ex-husband, and I'll release and let go of this toxic belief that's holding me back. And this is before I even knew Ho'oponopono, but now I can use it a different way. And I also let go of any anger towards myself and my ex by understanding we were both doing the best we could with the information and skills that we had at that moment of time. My hurt and anger began to just dissipate. When I was free of the chains that bound me, that really held me back, then and only then could I take action. The next item on my belief inventory was the economy was in a disaster. It was a free fall. I'd never be able to buy a house in that economy. As long as I was using that limited belief, it went round and round in my thought cycle. I was stuck. I had to learn that I needed to create the vacuum, meaning to release, to let go, to create the space of any limiting beliefs so I could move forward. And once I had created the vacuum, I knew I had to fill my own vacuum by replacing my limiting belief bundle with an improved belief. So my new improved belief became, my job is to know what I want. God's job is to know how. I claim my new dream house. That's what I said. And magically, within a short period of time, a friend appeared in my life, and because I began to take action. I hated the apartment. Knowing what I didn't want led me to what I did want. To manifest what you want, you have to improve your thoughts and beliefs. And so I had to take the inventory of my own mind pantry. What beliefs were hurting me? Listen to myself, and I kept saying, I'm stuck in this apartment. I hate my husband. So I had to let that go. I had to put into action all the prosperity information that I had read about. Forgive myself and others. If I'd have known Ho'oponopono, it would have been so much easier back then, but I did it a different way. But just means let go. And you had to fill the vacuum. We are both doing the best we could with the information and skills that we had at that time. I want a dream house. And I said, I claim my dream house. And so after I took that inventory, I had to listen to myself. The economy is a disaster. I'll never be able to buy the house. And I had to create the vacuum, which means just create a space. fill the vacuum. My job is to know what I want. God's job is to know how and provide those resources. I want that dream house. So all of a sudden, manifesting began, and a friend appeared. Yes, she did. And all of a sudden, magically, because I didn't know how to buy a house, I didn't know how to do it. And I told her about the dream of owning a house, and she immediately said, I know exactly how to do that. Have you ever heard of the HUD program? And I had not. They sell houses below market value. All you have to do is find a HUD house, make a bid, and buy the house. I have a realtor friend who will help you through this process. When I protested, she said, you can afford. I said, how can I afford a mortgage? I can barely pay the rent on my apartment. And she said, listen up, no problem. All you have to do is get a roommate until you can pay for the mortgage yourself. Wow, I would never have thought of that in a million years. And this was great information. Immediately, I was able to take action, and I raced to fill my own vacuum. And as promised, the realtor showed me the list of HUD houses. And so I took action. I set goals to visit 2 houses per day. On the 4th day, there was my dream house, and the house was in excellent, excellent, excellent condition. And so outside, it had this atrium with a fish pond. Oh, it was so cute. I remember that house so well. Backyard it was filled with plants and a pond and everything else. The next belief that was to deal with, you don't know how to buy the house. That's that uninvited guests of fear and doubt appear. You know, MGM, you don't know how to buy a house. You've never bought a house before. So fear rears its ugly head, and it becomes the uninvited guest. When I protested, how can I afford it? She said, get the roommate. Well, and so all of a sudden, there was a definite way to do this, but because that fear keeps coming up, even though you begin to use all these principles, believe me, fear is going to come back up again. And so the job was, I kept repeating, my job was to know what I want, and God's job was to know how. And so then, sure enough, the realtor took me through this. And so I was able to see that the limiting belief of I don't know how to do it, I took action, and I began to look at this. I set a goal to learn the HUD process of buying a house. They have a manual. You can read it. Every step of the process, I asked question after question in the learning process. So I began to take action. I took action, and a realtor appeared with the HUD list. I claimed my house. I took action. I set goal to visit 2 houses per week. I claimed my house. And that's how I did it. I took action. I put it into bite-sized pieces and replaced my limiting thing. I don't know how to buy a house. I don't know how to buy a house. I surround myself with people that can help me, and I claim my house. And so that's what I did. I started just taking action, set goal to learn that HUD process, make a bid. I claim my house. Every day I went over and looked at this house and took dominion. Imagine you already have your dream house. I claim my house. I sat outside that house every single day in the car. I'm so wondering somebody didn't turn me in. And so I took dominion. I saw that house. I saw me walking in the front door of that house. I visualized the end result. You know, I'm always saying visualize the end result. I saw me sitting in that house. I saw me sitting out in the backyard and looking at my beautiful pond. That was something. I took action. Then finally, I knew I had to put a bid in and go to the bid office, and hearing I claim my house. So I get to but you had to go, and it was really something. You get to this bid, and what they do is everybody, there's all these bids on these houses, on HUD houses. So the guy comes in, and all these realtors, I was actually the only realtor, a non-realtor in the room. Everybody else were realtors. And so they are used to doing this process. And my realtor was supposed to be with me, of course. And she got called out of town. So she said, everything's already, I put the bid in for you. You just stand there and you wait to hear the bids go. And she said, you know, there's other people there that will help you. And sure enough, all these realtors looked at me. I was very young. And so I had red hair. I was only a size 3. And so these realtors saw me, and I come in. It was usually a boring process, but I come in. I was thrilled. I was excited. I didn't have any fear. I was thrilled to the max. I was like, oh my God, I'm claiming my house. I'm ready for my house. I'm ready for my house. Well, all these guys said, well, you know, there's going to be a lot of bids for that house because it was one of the best ones. And I said, no, I claim that house. That's my house. I've been sitting on it. I know it is. So all these realtors, now I'm a game to them. You know, it was great fun. So now comes the guy in, and he's got his hammer, and he holds up the number 37. So what happened was they call out the house, and there were only a few bids on most of the houses, but mine was one of the most bid on houses out there. And so my house comes up, and all the realtors are they didn't leave the room. They stayed to watch because they were all excited. And so I was bid number 37. The first bid was the highest bid, and every bid after that was lower, 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 until I was number 37, and my bid outbid that bid. And then there was one bid after mine that was higher. The whole audience, because everybody was like, you got it, you got it, you go, girl, come on, you're the highest bid, you're the highest bid. And then I got outbid. I just started to sob. I just started crying. And I was like, I couldn't believe what had happened. And this other realtor walked up to me, and he says, that's your dream house. Don't give up. Keep doing what you're doing. And you did right. He said the first bidder often drops out. So don't worry. You haven't lost that house yet. It's your house. And I was just hysterical. And so those words made sense to me. The first bidder often drops out. And I didn't wish that on them, but that was, something that was happening. So once again, I claimed my house. I knew this house was mine. I just knew it. And so sure enough, of course, that bidder jumped out. So now I was so excited. So now my realtor was back to help me. And so she tells me, okay, don't you worry. We've got 30 days, because you see, you put so much money down. And if you do not get your title in 30 days, you lose the money you put down. So I was very intense on buying this house. And so every day I called the title company to make sure that the paperwork was moving along, and this was happening and that was happening. And so everything was happening, and I had to deal with my ex-husband. And my ex-husband, because I didn't have the money to buy this house, because it looked like I couldn't make the money. And so I said, I will divorce you if you will help me buy this house and then quit claim it back to me. And he said a yes. So right down to the last minute, we're now like 3 days away from this deadline. And sure enough, they called me into the title company, and they said, well, we're so excited. Everything is ready for you. We're ready. And so I go into this title company. I'm all set. And when I walked in, this lady looks gray. And I said, what's the matter? And she said, we didn't know till just now that this was a HUD house. We are not HUD approved. Only HUD title companies can sell you that house. And once again, I burst into tears. I said, what are you saying? And they said, you have to go through the HUD process. We have completely put a package together with all of your information. Everything is ready to go, but you've got to go to a HUD office. And instead of getting upset or angry, I looked at her and said, where is the nearest HUD office? She showed me where it was, and she gave me my package. She said, I doubt very seriously if they will let you have this packet and work for you. But she said, I'm going to give it to you anyway. Well, oh my gosh, but I took action. So what happens is I get to the HUD office, and it's now like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They close at 5, and there's a line. And so I am just beside myself. I have to pull myself together before I get in that line. And I'm standing outside, and there's this lady that had come out to have a cigarette. And she said, you look really sad. What's happened? And I just blurted out the whole story about I had won the bid and I got the house and it's my house and now I'm going to lose all my money and I don't have any money left. And now I'm in the wrong place. And not, I just went on and on about what had happened. And I've got all my paperwork and now I have to probably start all over again. I'm going to lose this money and I'm probably going to lose the house. And so she said, don't worry, love, just get in line and we'll see what happens. So I took action. The lady happened to be one of the people that was in the back room, and she took care of the loans. So when my number was called, she said, I'll take MGM. And she takes me and she said, we never do this. We never do this. But because your packet is so well prepared and because it's done, we only need these 3 things. You've got 1 day to get this done. So you have 24 hours before you're going to lose everything. So don't worry. I know you can do it. So just stay focused and take action. I did. I took action. I did exactly what she told me to do. I did everything I needed to do. And sure enough, I took massive action. And the next day, I went to the office and she handed me the keys and I got the title to my new house. And so it was really, really something. And it's always up to you. You have to make a decision. What you focus on is going to be up to you. What you focus on is all about what you either focus on the fear or you focus on the excitement. And even though the fear kept raising its head at every single point in this process, it raised its head. I could either invite it in and activate it, or I could stop it and say, wait a minute. I know I need to go back to the process is, I know what I want. I know it should be here. And so you take the action. Just like I say with tithing and everything else, prove me now herewith. If you don't believe me that these things can happen for you and with you, prove me now herewith, because I will open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that there shall not be room enough to receive it. You are promised this. And so I want you to know that taking action is all about inviting in excitement instead of the fear. There's always going to be fear. There's always going to be things around you that are difficult, but you have to make a decision what you're going to do. And are you going to use fear or excitement? And as always, you have to test this out in your own abundance text kitchen. You've got to practice these philosophies yourself. Don't just listen to me. Make a decision, then practice, bringing and attracting vibrant health, bringing in and attracting harmonious relationships. Practice making your pleasurable purpose, the gifts, ways to give your gifts and talents to the world, and practice attracting your dream lifestyle. This is truly up to you. We're cooking up prosperity, and it's going to be up to you to decide what kind of prosperous lifestyle you're going to live. And so thank you, good evening, and have a good evening, and go out there and practice for the next class.
Thank you.